What's going on, family? Welcome back to Larry's Anything Goes. Hopefully you guys having a great and exceptional day. As they say in Texas, everything's chicken but the bone because my black butt is at home. All right, I'm multitasking today, so doing some laundry, so we're going to get it in, and hopefully we don't commit too many sins. So there's been this topic I've been wanting to talk about for like the last week. I saw a video. I forgot the name of the gentleman, but he really went in. He really went in on talking about the great things about the Jewish community. And bear in mind, I don't talk bad about any other community. If you see my content, I keep it positive over here for the most part. And every now and then, sometimes I have a joke that somebody might find offensive and whatnot, or even when I say some but not all. Or as Zoe Williams would say, some banal. Everybody still thinks that I'm talking about them, and I'm not. So I've had to block people from my social media lately because they think I'm talking about them when I'm not. Anyways, so, and I think I might even go live again and talk about this specific subject matter just because a lot of specifically females were in their feelings over this one post that I had on my regular social media, not even on my business social media. So, but anyways, let's get to this. There's a list of great things that is part of the Jewish community's lifestyle and culture. And I know a lot of other cultures practice these specific 4 steps. And I think that true culture is when people are looking out for each other. I don't care what your religious background is. I don't care what your ethnicity is. I think when you have corporations that have their corporate culture, you know what I mean? You have churches and religious and faith-based organizations that have their specific culture. I think culture is very great and important. So that's why I'm saying this is nothing but positivity, no negativity whatsoever. And I know this is not going to get a bunch of views because I'm not on here screaming, cussing, being argumentative and being combative, because I know that's what really gets people going. I'm just keeping it simple and to the point. So shout out to the Jewish community. Keep up the great work. And shout out to any community that's real big on economic community. And when I say economic community, I mean just people working together, whether it's 5 families living in one house so that they can put their money together, buy more assets, i.e. real estate, business, open businesses, and any other specific asset vehicles, life insurance policies, cryptocurrencies, stocks, bonds, whatever the case may be. Shout out to communities that are doing those great things from a cohesiveness, because too many American families, what's killing the American families, in my personal opinion, is that from a financial standpoint for everyday regular working people, is that people are mad that people are not mad. People are in constant, like, members of my family, some but not all. So if you're seeing this, if you feel like I'm talking about you, to know well. Everybody wants to brag about what they got and how special they are, but they never want to talk about how, like, my last name is Patterson. I can't remember the last time anybody on my Patterson side of the family was talking about, hey, yo, let's put our money together and let's buy a house. Let's put our money together and let's open up a business. My mother's side, the gay side, the last name is Gay. I'm not talking about homosexual people, but my mother's maiden name was Gay before she got married to my father, whose last name is Patterson. But members of her family is on the gay side. Last name is Gay. And last name on the other side of my mother's side is Langley. So can't remember the last time I heard anybody on that side, my mother's side of the family, talk about, hey, let's buy some real estate together. Let's open some businesses together. Let's ensure that when our kids graduate from school, that they have assets that we can pass down to them, so that if they decide to go to college, they're not going to college broke. Shout out to my folks that have joined the military, served the United States of America, and got the earned benefits, because they definitely earn those benefits of, being able to get veteran affair loans, known as VA loans, and being able to get access to go to school and whatnot. And in certain instances, I believe if you retire from the military, depending on the situation, you can qualify to send your children to school with the educational monies and things of that nature. So shout out to people like that. That's why I said this is all about positivity. So anyway, so here's 4 things that the Jewish community's lifestyle is a part of their lifestyle. And I hope that everybody tries to make this a part of their lifestyle. So number 1, they prioritize generational wealth and avoid generational consumption. Meaning that, as I talked about earlier, the idea, it's like you're shamed upon, from what the article stated. People in certain parts of the community can be shamed upon if they're not going out of the way to hand down a business, any sort of assets, from insurance policies to stocks, bonds, nowadays cryptocurrencies, and a business. So all those things that are encompassing to ensure that the financial security of the family will continue on, whether the parents are alive or not alive, passing those assets down to the family. My mindset is that should be a no-brainer. Every parent should want to aspire to do that. It doesn't mean that everybody can do that, but they would want to aspire to do that, and obviously hand down great memories all at the same time. So all encompassing. It's not just about money. I remember DMX said, rest in peace to DMX. He said in a movie, he said to a young guy, he was giving this young guy great information. He was like, the greatest thing you can give a woman is time, not money. Not scolding or anything of that nature, but the greatest thing you can give her is your time, because time is a valuable asset that none of us can ever get back. All right. And I agree with that one. All right. Number 2, when it comes to the Jewish community, they give out assets, not appliances, i.e. stocks, money, and other assets for wedding gifts. So it's normal when somebody gets married within the Jewish community is that handing down specific assets as a gift, instead of giving somebody a microwave or an iPad or a new cell phone or computer or television or whatnot, or any other appliance that one can think of. It's normal to hand down something more of an economic tangible so that person can put that money away in the savings account, or that person can put that money away in the asset. If they give money, then they can put that money towards buying stocks, buying cryptocurrencies, buying bonds, putting money, put money into the individual retirement accounts, the 401ks, whatever, or back into the business if they own the business, whatever the case may be, or maybe even pay down some debts. You know what I'm saying? So that is a beautiful thing. And I think that should be, as Dr. Boyce Watkins said, especially back in the day, if every family owns a business, not everybody in the family has to be a business owner, but if every family, like for instance, my last name Patterson, if one sector of the Pattersons own a successful business, then that means that they can hand down that knowledge and possibly the assets down to the next generation. That's what he meant by that. Doesn't mean that because everybody can't be a business owner, but everybody can try to be an investor in some sort of a way. You know what I'm saying? All right. So number 3. When it comes to the community, they were expected to be wealthy and were embarrassed if they weren't. Now, that's what hit home to me. I was like, I got to knock on wood on that one. I got a wooden table next to me. They said they were expected to be healthy and were embarrassed if they weren't. That's not really talked about in a lot of communities. Being embarrassed to be wealthy, to not be a part of the wealthy class, asset class. And when we're talking about wealthy, it doesn't mean that every person in this community is a millionaire or whatnot, but every person in this community is known to be great with having assets of many kinds, many aspects in various different ways, because it's embarrassing to just be a basic, boring lackey and just be a straight up 100% consumer in that community. That's what the article was going in. So I was like, this is interesting, because it's all about mindset and perspective. You can't really change anything in this life if you don't try to go all out of your way to change your mindset and perspective, because once you do that, then you get into the aspects of gaining new information, getting around different kinds of people, and then it's that beautiful word called implementation. Implement whatever you're trying to accomplish in this life. All right. Last but not least, they said the community uses pain to fuel, not as a fuel, not as an excuse, because they have faced horrific oppression. Yes, the Jewish community has faced horrific oppression, and they never forget about that. That's why I respect them having their own private museums. There's like a lot of Black Americans are having their own private museums and whatnot, not worried about it being funded through any government or other corporate entity, because they want to tell their story and live within their truth. And I'm like, you know what? Speak on that. Because that's how it's supposed to, because the person who writes the checks is the one that commands the deck. Okay, that's one of my Navy buddies. He was a retired naval officer. He says the one who writes the checks is the one who always commands the deck. All right, and just like I always say, it's not about who casts the votes; it's about the ones who can write a check. And when the person can write a check, that's more powerful than ever anyone casting a specific vote for any specific election. And I'll leave it at that. Not getting political, because I think both sides are full of it. So, anyways, so vote how you vote. Don't want to vote. Don't care. You'll never see me arguing over that. I only argue over life and death and money, not anything else. Okay. So it's like nowadays a lot of African Americans are trying to, and some are implementing like, hey, we use the pain and the struggles that we've gone through as a fuel and not as an excuse to get to where we're going. Case in point, going to events like InvestFest and whatnot in Atlanta, Georgia next month in August. Majority of the audience, participants within, everybody's welcome there of all races, of course, but majority of the attendants are of Black descent. And they are there to learn how to increase their assets, increase their wealth, increase their networking, because networking is the biggest problem with a lot of people, especially at times with the Black community. You're not around the people with the same mindset of, if you're trying to build a business or if you're trying to increase your investment portfolio, you can be surrounded by basic boring people that just want to live a basic boring lifestyle, and that's cool. But in 2025 going into 2026, that's where you, as a regular everyday working person, that's how you put yourself in a precarious position to financially lose. You know what I'm saying? And I leave it at that. So shout out to the Jewish community. Keep up the great work. This is an inspirational video about the great things that they do and what they're about. And I just gotta, I just had to go. When I heard this gentleman, it was a Black man who's a successful entrepreneur down in Atlanta. When he talked about, I don't know why I can't. I think his name is Brian. I cannot remember that man's, John Bryan, I believe that's his name. Yeah, I can't remember his name for the life of me, but he spoke on those truths and I wanted to speak on that. And I hope everybody goes out of the way to implement these 4 things, not only in their life, but with their friends and family, because as you become more positive and as you get better, whatever you're trying to do in this life, I think if as long as you're spreading this great positive karma and whatnot, great things will happen to you all at the same time. This positive energy, even though we live in a place where everybody wants to hinder, they want to stay on the negative and the ratchet side of things instead of staying on the positive side of things, especially given the fact because of social media, that's the thing that gets promoted the most. But I leave it at that. So I might go live later in regards to that post I talked about earlier, because I'm in a lot going live kind of mood. So do the great 3 free things if you're watching. Like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe. If you're not watching this, if you watch this on another platform, please go to my YouTube channel, Larry's Anything Goes, LLC, and my other YouTube channel, Patterson Properties, LLC, and subscribe. And on Larry's Anything Goes, if you want to become a member, that's great. I greatly appreciate it. But as I always say, do the great 3 things. Like, share, and subscribe. Have a great day. Make money move so you can live like fools. Is it saying in Spanish? Bienvenido a la vida. Welcome to the life, or the say in Spanish. Tengo uno buen día. Have a good day. I'm out.